Hi there. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I wrote and illustrated Little Dog. There is another video of me reading Little Dog, and you can also see the little dog that Little Dog is based on. But I'll give you a quick overview. Well, actually, before I do that, I'm going to show you the first example of a Little Dog book that I wrote. So many years ago, the first version I did was called Luna, the Little Yellow Dog. And this was after I started going to Puerto Rico. My mom moved to Puerto Rico just when I was in college, and I would go visit her. Unfortunately, she waited till I was in college, so I never actually lived there. But I was very intrigued by all of the stray dogs that were around Puerto Rico, and my mom had adopted one. Later on, I have adopted one. And so I thought it would be interesting to write the story of a dog who is lonely on the streets of Puerto Rico. And so the very first version, this was a dummy book that I did about Luna, which means moon in Spanish. I thought that was a fun name. And the very first page, you can see what's wrong with it right away, right? Maybe you can, maybe you can't, besides the art being really rough. But look at all of those words. There's 126 words on that page. And I'll just read some of them to you, and you can see how useless a lot of them are. Luna was a little yellow dog with long pointy ears. Okay, so you don't need to know that because you're going to see a picture of her right away, and you're going to know that she has long pointy ears. She was born in Old San Juan on the island of Puerto Rico. Luna never knew her mother or even if she had any brothers or sisters. She was all alone in the world. Do you need to know that she's in Old San Juan in Puerto Rico? Maybe, I don't know, but it's not really about Puerto Rico. That's just a backdrop. And by saying that it's in Old San Juan in Puerto Rico, it would mean that my pictures would have to represent Old San Juan. So nobody could say, that doesn't look like Old San Juan in Puerto Rico. So I give myself as an artist much more freedom to not name the specific place. I can make it any sort of Caribbean place. She never knew her mother or if she had any brothers and sisters. She's all alone. Well, of course she's going to be all alone if she doesn't have a mother or brother. And then the streets of Old San Juan were a rough place for a small dog, but Luna was tough and quick. She darted under and between cars faster than lightning. She ate food from the garbage that she found lined up in the streets every evening. But Luna was also sad. She wasn't growing because a diet of old garbage was not adequate for a dog. The word adequate I circled because it just seemed a little cumbersome. She had trouble sleeping at night and she howled at the yellow moon. Luna began to feel sicker and sicker. So how much of that, those 126 words, are really important? Another version I did, I realized, okay, well, there's going to be a picture. So this was another, this is when I decided it was going to be called Little Dog. I wasn't going to name the dog because that was confusing. Where did she get the name? She didn't have anyone to name her. So this version, I cut it way back. There's 26 words here. And this is how it went. Little dog lived on the streets. She darted between cars. She found food from the garbage. She slept in dark alleys. Little dog was not happy. So I took out all of the descriptions. Nothing about what she looks like. Nothing about what the place looks like. Nothing about whether she had parents or siblings or whatever. Just that what she did, darted between cars, food from garbage, slept in alleys, not happy. All of those things would make you not happy. Another version, this is another dummy book. Little Dog. Little Dog lived on the streets. You can see the art is changing a little bit. I'm trying to get more of a little more refined. My art is very sloppy. That's just how it is. Little Dog lived on the streets. He darted under cars. He ate from the garbage. He was not happy. He ate from the garbage. He slept in dark alleys. So I didn't say he wasn't happy because it seems obvious that those things would make you not happy. I also changed Little Dog from female to male because later there's a character named Rosa, a human character, who finds Little Dog, and it was very confusing with the pronoun. So I just decided I would make Little Dog male. So that went down to 20 words on this page. And then I did another one. Some of the dummy books got smaller. Here's a nice little dummy book. You can see I like working small because then I don't have to get too fussy. And this is the cover. I'll take off. This would be the title page. They're all 32 pages. Little dog. I don't know how well you can see that. Tiny. Little dog lived on the streets. He darted under cars. He slept in he ate from the garbage. He slept in dark alleys. So that was down to 20 again. And then the final version, you can see what ended up happening. I cut it even more. So this is the final version. And you can see little dog lived on the streets. All the rest of that was in the very first dummy book that I did. 126 words here. Can you see that? 6 words there. All of that stuff about Puerto Rico and backstory of Little Dog was completely unnecessary. So if the idea that a picture is worth 1,000 words, you have 1,000 words here, plus Little Dog lived on the streets, 6 words there. You can see there's garbage. Little Dog is eating them. It's dark. There's bars on the windows. Little Dog is not happy. Little Dog was hungry. He was tired. He wanted to eat and sleep and chase things. Most of all, he wanted someone to love. So there's his desire, right? This is what Little Dog wants. And also the pictures are also conveying that it's dark on the streets, and that it's sad, that it's a grim place for Little Dog without having to say any of that. Little Dog roamed the city. Everyone told him to scram. It was a hard life, but Little Dog kept hoping. There's a rain cloud right on Little Dog. One day, there was a big festival. No one noticed Little Dog. And again, this is a very typical festival of the Caribbean, certainly in Puerto Rico. There's a lot of masks like that are around, and this is something you could see on the streets of Old San Juan, especially during March, sort of carnival time. But I don't have to be specific. I'm just conveying that. Little Dog slipped into a building. In the back, a woman was hanging paintings. This was Rosa, an artist. Her paintings were sad and dark. Little Dog took a chance and rolled on Rosa's feet. A little dog, Rosa said. Want some food? Little Dog's tail went thump, thump, thump. You're so scruffy, you're so scrappy, Rosa said, but you're so happy. Little Dog's tail thumped faster. I guess you can stay. Rosa gave Little Dog a sudsy bath and made him a cozy place to sleep. So all good so far, right? You could say the story's over because Little Dog has found a nice home. But it's not over because the picture book has to be 32 pages. So what happens? In the morning, Rosa and Little Dog went out. Rosa started to paint with her usual dark colors. Little Dog pranced around. This doesn't feel right, Rosa said. I don't want to paint these gloomy pictures anymore. Little Dog wriggled with joy. So now we have kind of Rosa's problem. The story has turned, and this is really, it's kind of about a relationship. It's a love story as far as I'm concerned. So what's going to happen? No more gloomy pictures. What can I do? Cried Rosa. Little Dog whiffed and yipped and wagged his tail. Where are you going, Little Dog? Wait for me. Where are they going? Got to turn the page. Rosa followed Little Dog a long way. The city buildings changed to houses and then to hills with fields of flowers. They were in the country. And start noticing what's happening to the color palette here. Color can do a lot to convey emotion in a story without the words having to convey the emotion. And also remember the things that Little Dog wanted. Little Dog took a deep breath. The air smelled of fresh grass and lots of creatures to chase. Rosa took out her paints. The world was full of color and growing things. And it is colorful. Just as, going into the country in Puerto Rico is very beautiful and colorful. I mean, Puerto Rico is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country. Yes, the city's a little harsh, a little dirty, but cities are a little harsh and a little dirty sometimes. There's also beauty in them. Little Dog frolicked and Rosa painted. When the sun began to set, they packed up. What a beautiful day this has been, Rosa said. Little Dog yipped in delight. They're going back to the city. When they got back to the city, everything looked different. Little Dog played while Rosa painted and painted and painted. Finally, Rosa hung up her new painting. So there's a bunch things going on here. First of all, this is the same city that Little Dog was in the beginning, right? And what has happened, right? It's colorful. Their shapes are more curvy. Curvier shapes are much softer and more pleasant. They're happier shapes than these sort of sharp, angled, straight shapes. You can see the country in the background. The colors are certainly much more vibrant. Even some of the same people. There's the same woman that was kicking Little Dog before. She has her own dog. Maybe she was just in a bad mood herself. There are flowers outside in the buildings, and there's other dogs around. So the idea is that it's not that the world is actually a bad place. It's how we perceive it, right? And why are they happier now? Because Little Dog and Rosa have found each other, because they're in love. Still a few more pages to go, right? So Rosa has finally hung up her new paintings. What has she painted? We don't know. Are they any less gloomy? That was her problem. We don't know. You have a hint. There's a little tease of what the painting is, little bright colors, but you don't get the whole picture. So you have to turn the page. Everyone admired Rosa's art. So bright, so cheerful, they said. Thank you, Rosa said. I could not have done it without Little Dog. And this is the art gallery opening. And again, you can see there are people there, but you still don't quite see what the art is exactly. You get hints of it. You don't have the full picture. I love doing that in picture books. When I get to illustrate my own picture books, I love having something that kind of teases you in the art that you have to look at and remember and retain, that either is going to come into play later in the story or is something you have to turn the page to kind of see the full picture. And just FYI, fun little information. So I was working with a very famous editor at the time, Walter Lorraine at Houghton Mifflin, and he looks exactly like that. That's him, and he's giving me the thumbs up. So I got to put him in my book, which is always fun. Every artist has little secrets in their book. Little Dog looked at the painting. So this is where you get to see the full picture. And what are they? Well, he was in every one. So now, Rosa also has her needs met, which aren't even clarified, except that she doesn't want to paint the gloomy pictures anymore. And now she has a subject to paint because she is also happier. He jumped into Rosa's arms and licked her face. I'm so happy you found me, Rosa said. Little Dog was happy too. And that is basically the end. That's the happy end. Both of them are together. They found love. And then I just wanted to sum everything up. So the last page, I called it an epilogue. Rosa and Little Dog moved to the country. Rosa had plenty of colorful things to paint. Little Dog had plenty of food to eat, time to nap, creatures to chase, and lots of love, because those are the things he didn't have in the beginning. And you can go right back to his list of the things that he wanted. He wanted food, he wanted to sleep, he wanted to eat and sleep and chase things, and most of all, he wanted love, and that's what he gets. And Rosa's story isn't quite as explicit, but she also wanted those things too. So this is why I think of it as a love story. And I love the color they chose for these end pages. This is the one thing I almost never, they never ask me about the end pages. I'm always surprised, but I think it's really beautiful with the purple cover. So that's an example of just how I went about cutting back from Little Dog. I did a couple of storyboards, which I think I talked about in class. So this was a storyboard I did for the text. I don't know how well you can read that, but I did the 16 pages. So each one of these squares represents a double spread. So Little Dog on the Streets, that's actually the very first page of text. So Little Dog on the Streets coincides with that. And then Little Dog Not Happy, wants to sleep, eat, chase things. So this shows you what's happening with the text. And this is an example. Hang on here, folks. I know I have an example. Okay, yes, sorry. So this is an example of the storyboard with just the pictures. Very, very, very rough, tiny. This is actually a printout of it, of slightly larger. The original storyboard is quite a bit larger than this, but this is just a printout. So you can also see this is not a storyboard from the one that made the final version. There's a lot more that happened here. There was something about a cafe. Little dog makes a mess. Little dog goes to Rosa's house and she lives above a cafe, and it got very, very complicated. They take a car, they drive to the country instead of just walking. The original versions had a lot more. He goes to a vet, and the vet says that little dog is sick, blah, 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 blah. A lot of that got cut out, and doing these storyboards and doing all of these dummy books also helped. So you can see this is one of the earlier dummy books. Sometimes when I did dummy books, I would get to a page like this and I would have the text, but I wouldn't know what to draw. Usually that's a sign that something is wrong with the text. So that's an example of Little Dog. And if you have any questions, you can email me. You can also hear me read from Little Dog. And Little Dog is based on a couple, actually I've had 2 rescue dogs from Puerto Rico. So they are a little bit, combined into one in that story. And I also always been intrigued by this balance between the country and the city. I've always been pulled between both my love of the country and my love of the city. Even though cities sometimes can be a little scary, I also think they're very beautiful. So that's about it for Little Dog. Thank you very much, and I will be speaking with you again soon.